Start a stream. Let's see if I can get my chat up. Chat. Alright. GM. Alright, mic check. How am I coming in? Do I have an echo? Sorry, I just came out of a meeting. I'm getting ready right now. And let's see, how many people do we have in chat? Okay, I'll wait for, we'll give it a few minutes to let people trickle in and for everybody to get kind of settled. It looks like we just have TP and Hashigo. Let me tag Chom and Simple in Discord. It looks like we have some more folks in here. We got 5 streamers. Simple, what's up? Good morning. Happy to have you. Well, I guess I'll get started. Today is a little bit less prepared. I've been kind of busy, and I kind of also, I'll take a little time to share what I've been working on. I think y'all might be interested. It's very related to running an OP stack and upgrading it to the latest contract versions. So there's some interesting information there, but I'll get to that later. Today's agenda, we're going to just kind of go over my request for you guys, touch base on impact bounties. I haven't added any new ones. There's one unclaimed one. Open up for Q&A. I'm going to share a little bit of the work that I've been doing lately, and if you have any questions on that. And then I'm going to use this time to go through the developer forum. I've been very booked up, so I'll use the synchronous time to start catching up. So if there's any specific questions you want to flag, drop it in chat, and then we can look through it together. So the 2 things that I want to ask from the tech nerds is please open a PR to the developer repo with your contributions. Specifically Null Teleporter TV, can you help me out and add your contributions there? We can always do like retroactive ones. If you've forgotten one, we can open a PR to fix it, but it helps me stay on top of it as time goes by. I know there's one in there that's pending that I need to review, and then I've added like a table in the subdirectory that has like a list of all the contributions. We want to be hitting those like 3 points a week, so you're hitting the TechNERD, what do you call it? I don't know, whatever was defined in the mission proposal. And just in general, if there's any repeated questions or no response questions, feel free to keep pinging me in the TechNERDs channel. Just tag me. I do need the poke and the prod because it's just been very hectic on my end. Yeah. I know there is an outstanding issue with the spin up your own L2 tutorial, and I have some time this week to investigate that and update the tutorial. And I'm also looking for opinions too. What I think I'm gonna do is like update it so it's using the latest contract version and the latest node software, and then kind of pinning it there instead of like the arbitrary branch that it's on right now. But I need to look into the deploy script and all of the comments that you all have compiled so far. So I appreciate you guys being on top of it, and I'm sorry I haven't gotten to it sooner. Okay, we went over this a couple weeks ago, the TechNERD impact bounties. These are just additional ways to contribute to the program that are outside of like what's already formally defined. The one that we have still open is if automating the closing of developer forum threads. It would be nice if we had a GitHub action that ran daily. Look through all of the open questions, and if there's no activity, we close them. All right. I guess the Q&A is actually coming after this. So I've been working on something called I've been playing a small part in something called the Superchain Registry. For those of you who are not aware, the Superchain Registry hosts the chains that are in the superchain. It's got its configuration data in a minimal human readable form, and this includes mainnet and testnet superchain targets and their respective member chains. So I've taken over the ownership of adding new chains to the registry. So once they've agreed to do the revenue sharing with the Optimism Collective, it's handed over for a technical review, and we can view the options. So I'll do a quick tour of the Superchain Registry. So this is the registry. If you are going to be adding a new chain here, you've gone through the partnership side and you're ready to add a chain, there's a contributing guideline here that'll follow through how you can add your chain. You would run this script and you would determine if it's a standard configuration or something else. And then a quick note on standard configurations. We now have a definition of what a standard OP chain is. This is still more in a draft form because we need governance approval on it, but it's here on the specs it'll say what parameters on your chain can you configure and which ones need to be uniform. And this is important for features that are coming out later. So like when we have interoperability and chains that are talking to each other, they would need to be on the standard config for them to work with each other. So then we have all this in the registry, you run through it, blah, blah, blah. Once you're added, you'll be in the Superchain folder. So we have two folders, the configs for like the mainnet chains. So for OP, for example, here is like the Genesis hash when it started up, and then like the system config address, the batch inbox, and then this like standard level. There's also an extras section, which has like all of the addresses, like the L1 addresses. So it's kind of nice to have like a single source of truth. This Superchain registry is still a work in progress, but we're getting it to a point where we can like lean on it as like this is the Superchain. You can point at it. We're gonna have it in our docs. We're gonna have our docs automatically generate from the Superchain registry. So it'll be very easy to direct people like who's in the Superchain, who's out, and kind of remove that ambiguity around that question. Yeah. Any questions about the registry? All right, cool. And then the other one that we went through is the multi-chain prep L1 upgrade. If you guys aren't aware, this is something that went through governance and it's just been activated on OP mainnet. And we just activated it on 6 additional chains. This protocol upgrade strengthens the security and upgradability of the superchain by enabling L1 contracts to be upgraded atomically across multiple chains in a single transaction. So basically, we have all of everyone's proxy contracts. They will be pointing to the same implementation contracts. So when the superchain upgrades, everyone who is pointing to the same implementation contract will upgrade at the same time. So the details are in this governance post, and then we also, have a superchain ops repo. So this repository here is how we upgraded. we have like the run books in here, like the step-by-step process that you follow to upgrade your chain. So in the task directory, we have all of the upgrades that OP mainnet has gone through, and these are all here, and it says exactly the steps we followed to upgrade the contracts. We have some additional ones here. Metal, Mode, and Zora are 3 chains on mainnet and testnet that we upgraded last week to bring them up to MCP L1. So these are the first chains that are opted into this feature, and they can update at the same time as OP mainnet, and we will be moving in lockstep as we expand the superchain. So yeah, that's just a quick insight here. This repository is like it runs a just files, which was actually new to me. It's a command line runner, but it's basically a way to script these upgrades. And then we have like the run books that you can, if you're interested. This was for the MCP L1 upgrade. It's got the details of how we went through it, how we validated the state changes from the one contract to the next one, and how to sign those upgrades, and then how to gather them and broadcast it. But yeah, that's what's been on my plate lately. We're kind of moving forward so we can get this enabled, and then coming up soon is we have fault proofs launching on OP mainnet, and then shortly we're going to be launching them onto the superchain as well. So that's coming in the pipeline. If you guys have any questions on that, just let me know. You can ping me on Discord, in our chat, or wherever. Okay, I'm going to open this up for open questions. I'm going to leave it just for a couple minutes. I've been talking a lot. I'm going to get some water. Does anyone have any questions? Please drop them in the chat. Okay, no questions so far. Okay, what is superchain level and superchain registry? Very good question. There is superchain level 2, and that is a standard configuration. The standard configuration is the one that's defined here in the specs, standard config. And these are all the parameters that need to be compliant with the standard, right? So this is how you would configure your chain. And then you determine that when you open a pull request, so this one here is level 2, frontier, anything other than standard is level 1. Thanks for the question. All right. What else do we have? Okay. Time to work through the backlog. All right, let's take a look. At this point, I'm just going to kind of go through the developer forum. Has the video recorded been deleted? I actually posted it to YouTube. Give me 1 second. I'll grab the link for you. Give me 1 moment. Oh, sorry. Toddler has just woken up, and I don't know if you can hear that. Okay. So in the chat, I just dropped the previous recording. I'm going to upload this one to YouTube as well. I don't know how to upload it to the official account. I have to talk to other folks to do that, so I've just been using my personal account. All right, let's take a look. Actually, let me look at Discord and see if there's anyone specifically that you flagged. I see simple, you flagged this one. Let's take a look. General, finalized status on OP mainnet. We operate multiple OP nodes and have observed since yesterday that executing the command below yields a block several hours earlier. This occurs when accessing the public endpoint. Okay, I can answer this one. Okay, so for this one, the a little bit of insight here. Our public endpoint is a proxy, and when requests hit it, that proxy load balances the request to multiple nodes on the other end. Some that are run by OP mainnet and others that are run by third-party RPC providers that we've partnered with to provide a better experience for RPC requests to this endpoint. So they can be routed in different directions, right? So it could be, one could hit our endpoint and return a value for the finalized tag, and then right after you can make another request and it could hit a different node and you get a different value. So that's why you're seeing different values, different block numbers for the same request. Generally, you should see these block tags within the same range here. So this page is actually for transaction statuses, but it applies to the block tags as well. So this is basically the unsafe head will typically be confirmed within a few seconds. The safe block should be it should really be trailing no more than like 15 minutes from unsafe, and up to, I think this should say 12 hours. It's the sequencer window, which right now is 12 hours. So this is actually wrong. So let me update that. Sorry, side quest real quick. I'll just log it an issue. Hey, I'm in a call. Sorry about that. Okay. You might be able to hear my toddler banging at the door. Give me 1 second. Hey, buddy. I'm so sorry about that. I'm pretty embarrassed. Okay. Update the sequence of render. Okay, well this is an easy one. If anyone wants to pick up this one, you can just update this to 12 hours. But anyway, sorry, super sidetracked. Back to this. Comment that it should be answered. Okay. Oh my god. Okay, let's keep going. We're just gonna have to roll with it. All right. Okay, any requests before I just kind of go through them blindly? Okay. Okay, how the new node fetcher syncs derive the DA if the blob expires. Yeah, it's cute, but it's not ideal. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So it looks like John's looking for very like specific, like pointing to the code of the derivation pipeline. So I'll probably have to come back to this one and answer, but here's where I would look to start. So we have in our chain operator documentation, we have using blobs. For context here, this is, okay, thank you, Simple. Yeah, go ahead and drop it in there and I can follow up. Today is a pretty packed day for me, so I might have to get to it tonight or tomorrow morning. But this one is in terms of Ecotone. Ecotone enabled OP mainnet and OP stack chains to use blob space instead of call data. The thing about blobs is that they only stick around on L1 consensus nodes for 18 days. After that, they get pruned unless you're running like an archive node that keeps all of that information around. So if you're running your own chain, it helps to keep all that information around in an archive mode, or you can run an archive blob or blob archiver, excuse me. And those details are here. If you want to enable an archive node, you will need to access a blob archiver service, and you can use this one. That's the wrong link. I don't know why that's there. Yeah, so this is the details on how to run it in archive mode. So, and honestly, these are kind of weird links too, so these should probably be fixed. Learning a lot of docs stuff that needs to be updated. So, leave a note here. Also, Simple, if you have like specific questions about this one, you can just drop them in chat right now and I can see if I can answer them. I think John DM'd me on Discord too, so it's probably related to this question. And then more specifically, when we get to like how this derivation pipeline works. Like, as you all probably know, our L2 rollup nodes can all be derived from the L1. How they're derived is specifically defined in our specification in this derivation section. So if you wanted like additional details on there, you would go to like ecotone blob retrieval, and this would have the details there. I suggest an edit to this issue to the general category. This will require an extended period of discussion. Yeah, it could be. I think this one can come to a definitive answer, and it is related to the core protocol. But if it expands further than that question, we can put it in general. Which also reminds me, it's like I feel like I should also kind of give the tech nerds additional permissions. It's just on the to-do list, because I want you guys to be able to close issues as well and kind of maintain this repository in a way that helps serve you. Yeah. Okay, cool. So yeah, there's information here. If you guys want to follow up with him about blob retrieval, you can see it's in the specs, and this defines this information. This is very related to what he's talking about. Where it exists in the code, I'm not sure. I would have to look into it, or I'd have to talk to someone on the engineering end to see where it comes from. And I don't have synchronous time with them until either tomorrow or Friday. But yeah. Okay, so I'm actually going to leave this one be for now because I don't have a really complete answer to kind of add to what Hishigo has put there. Okay, testing OP Challenger in DevNet. Let's take a peek. Oh, it looks like we have a request. What's this one? All right. Application development. Node like to get latest transactions in the fastest way. Hi, I want to write a service to connect to bootstrap nodes and dial and discover other nodes and listen for latest blocks and transactions in the fastest way. I did it with Go Ethereum with dev P2P and RLPX, but I don't have any idea how I should do it for OP. Okay. All right, so I'll take a step back real quick. And describe the block tags in the context of the OP stack. So there is the sequencer produced blocks, and these are all from transactions that are made on the L2. These are called unsafe blocks. And they're called unsafe because they haven't been derived or posted to L1 yet. So they are subject to being reorged. Once a block or once transactions have been submitted to the L1, that block and those transactions can be marked as safe because they can be derived from Ethereum. After it passes a certain period of time, they can be marked as finalized because you can be confident that they will not be reorged. Okay. Okay. So starting with that, if you run like a roll-up node on OP mainnet and you're connected to the peer-to-peer network, you are going to get unsafe blocks. The latest blocks that you get are not on L1 yet. Once they are marked as safe, they are on L1. Okay. So do you have any questions about that up to this point? Okay. So the answers to your questions are already in this thread. They're provided by this user and Hashiko. I'm not Hashiko, Chumtana, excuse me. So let's see where like the final question ended up. The latest block theoretically should come from the sequencer. Does it require a P2P to solve this problem? I don't think you really don't need the additional information. Like it comes out of the box. When the sequencer like it gossips out the blocks, it already hits your nodes. So I think you really just need to run a node or use a third-party RPC provider to see like the latest blocks, and I think that would solve this thread. Okay, I guess I'll answer these questions here. Okay, so just defining a roll-up node really quick. It's the separation between the consensus and the execution layer. Running. Okay. So yeah, running a rollup node, you are running a replica node, also known as a validator node. So sequencer, gossips, safe blocks to validator nodes. On the network. If I develop peer-to-peer module that can connect to a P2P network, should I try to connect to OP-geth or OP-node? So both of these clients have a P2P network already enabled. OP-geth P2P node is for, what do you call it? One sec. I forget for OP node. I think it's for gossiping the receipt headers, but I guess I'll just leave it at that because I'm not totally confident on that. Maybe I'll just leave them that they're both enabled. So you can also reference code that Chantana provided and see how it works internally. You can modify it if you want to extract certain information. Okay, so we answered these questions. Hopefully that's helpful. Yeah, you'd probably be able to use that utility package. This one's a little bit, it's very like a custom solution here. So it kind of depends on your use case. I think most of what you want comes out of the box. Any additional performance you want to squeeze is going to be up to you to figure out how to like hack the OP node. Okay, cool. All right, what time is it? 7:10. I am going to take a look at maybe one more. As you guys can see, it's pretty chaotic at my house right now. So just trying to get this done before my next meeting. Oh yeah, I was looking at this one. Testing OP Challenger and DevNet. Hashigo, you're right here. There's not a specific guide on it. The OP Challenger, actually, one second. Let me take another step back. The DevNet is really meant for internal core developers development. They run a basically closed DevNet so they can kind of experiment on it. You can run a DevNet node. There's the instructions there. But it's not really useful for most people who are not core developers. It kind of makes more sense to be running the OP Challenger on testnet. So you would probably want to run that binary against like OP Sepolia and to experiment with it, and then you would probably want to like post like something invalid. But because of a lot of that stuff is still in development, it's like in flight right now, it's hard to answer this one. I can come back and see if I can provide some additional information, but this type of thing that's kind of like in limbo right now is kind of hard. Yeah, so I'll come back to this one. I do need to prepare for my next meeting. So I'm going to drop right now. So my request to the current tech nerds right now, or anyone wannabe tech nerds, or anyone who's just joining, if you have questions or need special attention on any of these, you need backup, please drop them on Discord and tag me. Like in the Tech Nerds channel, ideally that's the one I will check most frequently. Elsewhere, I will get to them eventually. Yeah. And then I'll leave it. Does anyone have any other like standing questions right now before I drop? And yeah. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't seem like we have any more questions. I apologize for the interruptions and kind of like the chaotic morning. It's been a lot, so we'll figure out the streaming situation soon. And if you have any feedback, let me know. Send it my way. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And thanks for tuning in.